Hi, I'm Lee Kemp. I want to share with you some thoughts that I think will help you on your road to success. These are things that helped me on my path to success when I was a young wrestler. The main thing that I think you have to think about, not only you set goals, of course, everybody sets goals, but the real key thing that I see lacking from a lot of athletes that I've coached and a lot of people that I've been around, and this just doesn't, this isn't only applicable to wrestling or athletes and athletics, it's to anything you do in life. And that one thing is effort. There have been athletes that I've coached that they were reluctant to put the actual effort into training and practicing because they didn't believe they were going to get the success on the other end. So they felt that it wasn't worth it to put all this extra effort in. Well, I want to tell you that there's no way you can know how good you're going to be until you put yourself out there and you give it your best effort. This is something that Dan Gable said to me, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So obviously it was a long time after we competed. We competed in 1976. I was 18, he was 27. I was a sophomore in college. But about 5 or 6 years ago, we were on the subject for some reason. Dan and I are friends, and we were talking about the match, and he said to me, Lee, it never occurred to me that you would actually try to beat me. So just think about that for a second. In life, sometimes we don't try as hard as we can because we don't think there's any chance that we could be successful. I think that's the one mistake, that the big mistake that we make in life. When I was a young athlete, I was the guy in the room that no one really wanted to work out with because I was trying like 100%. And people would say to me sometimes, Lee, this isn't a match, this is just practice. And I just didn't really understand that. So I would go grab someone else and wrestle with. So when you worked out with me in practice, you knew that I was going to be going as hard as I could go. And I was looking for the most competitive guy in the room to train with. And I think that's another thing that people forget about. They don't really think about those type of things. When you're trying to be successful, I always say that you want to be the most successful person in your room. And then when you become the most successful person in your room, then you want to find a different room to become the best in. And then you want to find a bigger room. When I was in high school, my senior year, from Ohio, Mike Deanna was equally talented. He was going to be a state champion that same year that I was, but he was in the bigger schools. I was in the smaller schools, so we weren't going to compete against each other. But we used to train together in high school because we both were looking for that edge. We wanted to train with somebody that could beat us, and that goes both ways. Some days I'd beat him in practice, some days he'd beat me, but we were searching for that one element that would make us better, because we had exhausted all the people in our room that would challenge us. And the big thing I see is a lot of athletes, they actually, I wouldn't say run from the challenge, but they avoid the big challenges. I noticed that even during Dan Gable's career, he went up a weight class to wrestle one of the defending state champions, Mike Grant, I think his name was. In my career, I remember I cut down to 150 for the All-Star match to wrestle Chuck Yegla. I was sacrificing an undefeated season to do that, but that wasn't on my mind then. I just wanted to wrestle the guy that beat me the year before. And the year I wrestled Gable, even my sophomore year in college, my coach tried to talk me out of wrestling him because he thought that would damage my psyche to get totally smashed by somebody, But I didn't care. I wanted the challenge. I wanted that competitive experience. Another thing that goes right along in line with this is putting value on your effort. In 1981, I took third in the World Championships, and that was after already having won 2 World Championships in 1978 and 1979. But in 1981, I got beat in the semis, and it was a really difficult situation to come back and wrestle back and all that stuff. But I had my final match for the bronze medal, and I can remember in my mind thinking that it wasn't that important because I had already won 2 gold medals, and what's the point in this bronze? It doesn't mean anything. Let me tell you that it is important. Now that I'm 63, I'm really happy I have that bronze medal to show for that effort that I put into it. Don't ever shortchange yourself or your effort. Always give your best effort. Because when you end your career and you look back over the matches that you wrestled, you want to know that you gave your best effort. I know that one of the championship years that Dan Gable had as a coach, the Iowa Hawkeyes won the national team title by a half a team point. And that could have meant one wrestler just winning one more match. And maybe that wrestler didn't even place in the tournament. Maybe that wrestler just won one match and then lost the rest. But that one match gave points that enabled the team as a whole at the end of the tournament to win the team championship. So Gable and other coaches like Gable, they always got a total team effort from everyone participating. Whether you were good enough to be a national champion, then you should be a national champion. Maybe you're good enough to just win one match, then you go ahead and do that. Your effort is really, really important. And I'll share this little story about when I did take the bronze medal. We were in Yugoslavia and I got beat. So I called home to my parents. And typically when I would call home, it was because I actually won, So my mother was excited. I'm not sure what the time difference was, but she greeted me with, "Oh, Lee, so you won. Congrats." I said, "No, Ma, I didn't win. I got beat." She goes, "Oh, you got beat." So she was, kind of paused for a minute. And she says, "Well, are you still in the tournament?" I said, "Yeah, I am, but it doesn't matter. The best I can do is third." She goes, "Well, go out and get third then." And I said, third's not really that important. I've already won two. And she said, "Lee, go out and win third. It's going to be important to you." And I was still, feeling sorry for myself. And she said, "Boy, get your butt out there and go get that bronze medal." And so when the match started, that Korean wrestler wanted that bronze more than I did right in the very beginning of the match because he took me down right away. And right away, I got slapped back into reality, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose this match. And then it all came important to me, I really do want to get this bronze medal. So I came back, I won the bronze, and I'm telling you, I'm just as proud of that bronze as I am winning some of the gold medals. That may seem hard to understand, but sometimes having a success that comes out of a disappointment, sometimes it means more. It was a huge disappointment to lose, but it felt good to triumph in the end. This is Lee Kemp sharing some tips with you. Also, I've got a book called Winning Gold, and the book shares some of these secrets and tips in it that I used along the way to my path to success. You can get the book from my website at leekemp.com. Also, you can learn about my movie called Wrestled Away, which chronicles my life. It's a documentary. The highlights of it are anchored in wrestling, but I went through some other personal things in my life that I think might help you in your life. The thing I know is nobody gets out of this world without having some disappointments, without having some tragedies even, and without having some hardships. The key thing in life is you have to learn how to get back up, just like in wrestling. You got to learn how to wrestle back. The thing I learned is I had to get back up, I had to pick myself back up, and I had to, start being productive again. And that's the whole key to life. No matter where you're at in life, you have to get yourself in a position to get productive, and you got to still be standing. I'm 63 years old and I'm still standing after all those years. The highs and the lows, but you got to pick yourself back up. This is Lee Kemp.